Number 4 of 6, and the first thing you'll notice is that our audience is a little bit smaller, okay? Some number of people understand that 4 is the requirement. This is meeting number 4, and they have had some programs at other locations if you don't realize that. And so some people have their meetings in and they're done. Okay, I don't care if I got all the material or not, I got my 4, okay? I think I'll be here for all 6. And so for those of you that have some interest in learning about all 6 of the segments, we'll have 6. Tonight we're talking primarily about Rule 6. Some of the things in tonight's program go outside of that, but it's largely the kicking game tonight. And so the kicking game, here we go. Let's start with the question, how many types of kicks, how many different kinds of kicks are there? Okay. The answer we think is 2. Well, we know one of them is called a free kick by general category, and that could be either a kickoff or a kick following a safety or a punt. And then the other one, correct answer is 2, of course, is a scrimmage kick. So we have free kick and scrimmage kick, and these punt, field goal, and try, okay, mean that the ball began with a snap. In a free kick, the ball begins in a fixed position, either held by a player, placed on a tee, or placed on the ground. Okay, and so in a free kick, the ball begins in a fixed location and is kicked from that position. In a scrimmage kick, you start the play with a snap. Okay? Okay. Basic things about kicking game. A kicking tee. I want to just modify the language slightly on this. It says cannot be elevated more than 2 inches. And what they're talking about there is the lowest point of the ball. The lowest point of the ball, the part that's closest to the ground, may not be more than 2 inches from the ground. So the kicking tee itself can be larger than 2 inches. Okay, usually they have those posts on the rear of the kicking tee that are quite a bit more than 2 inches. But it cannot elevate the ball more than 2 inches from the ground. Okay? If you have a player holding the ball as opposed to using a tee or in combination with a tee, the ball cannot be placed on the toe of the shoe. Okay? The ball can be on the ground. The ball can be on a tee, and on a windy day, the tee may not be sufficient to keep the ball in place. So you can have a tee and someone with a finger on the top. Okay, just like on a scrimmage kick, okay, we're allowing the holder to be in advance of the spot where the ball is. So if you have a free kick and someone is holding the ball, I don't want you to be too strict about, oh, his heel, his toenail, his finger, or whatever, is beyond the free kick line. Okay, he's generally down in a squatting or kneeling position. And the odds are he's not going to get up and make the tackle first anyway. I don't want him to be 5 yards beyond and reaching way back like this. But if he's a little bit beyond the ball and he's the holder for a free kick, play the game. Okay? All players, including the kicker, must wear shoes. In our level of football, there is no barefoot kicker. We do not allow that. If someone presents and they come out and they're saying or acting as though they're going to be the kicker and they have no shoe on, okay, you call a timeout and you send him off. Okay, call a timeout and send him off. And then the coach is going to go, what? Shoes are required equipment for all 22 participants, including the kicker. And so if you have someone coming out as a kicker, they must have shoes on. They don't have to wear socks. They don't have to be standard shoes. They can be different shoes, but they must fall into the category of shoe. Members of K.
Matt has a question. Are those considered shoes?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Members of the kicking team, and we're talking on either free kick or scrimmage kick, doesn't matter. Members of the kicking team, members of K, cannot go out of bounds voluntarily and return to play. Now the answer is, I mean, if you look at this in its technical form here, and we do have some lawyers in the room, so be careful, they may go out of bounds on their own. They just cannot return and participate. If someone is running and they try to avoid a member of Team R, a blocker, especially you're thinking about the gunners on a punt, but it could be on a free kick as well. If you have somebody going down, they're attempting to make the tackle and he's near the sidelines, he cannot legally go out of bounds, avoid the block, and then come back in and participate. If he is blocked, and in your judgment, the block caused him to go out of bounds, then he must return at his first opportunity. He can't run 10 or 15 or 20 yards and then come back. Okay? He must return at his first opportunity, and then he may legally participate. If he is not blocked, and block requires contact from an opponent. Okay? If somebody reaches out to try to block and they don't actually touch the guy, you can't run around that and go out of bounds and then return and participate without a flag. Okay? Our normal mechanic for that is as follows. If you determine that a player has gone out of bounds voluntarily, then you drop a bag at that spot. And that is the indication to the world that you have determined that player to have gone out of bounds voluntarily. Then if he returns and participates, okay, you will have a flag. Now if he's blocked out of bounds, and in your judgment you've determined that he was blocked out of bounds and it wasn't a voluntary act, then there's no bag and he can return at his first opportunity. Okay? Now let's talk about what is the requirement for him to be considered to participate once he's gone out of bounds voluntarily. If he comes back from out of bounds into the field of play and then realizes he's made the mistake, but he's already standing on the field, and he kind of goes, oh crap, and he just stands there and he's standing there, you got nothing. He didn't really participate. Certainly if he goes and engages with any opponent, he has participated. Whether or not he has contact with any opponent isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is, did any opponent, any member of Team R, do something different because this guy was back on the field? If he went over to potentially block him or went over out of his way and left something else over here to go for this guy, then you consider that guy to have participated because somebody else was guarding him, blocking him, attending to him. Following along, sir?
Would it be the hat instead of the beanbag?
It can be the hat, okay? It can be the hat, and sometimes you have already consumed your beanbag for some other activity, okay? So it can be the hat. I don't want to be restrictive. When I work the sidelines, which isn't that often, I would use a beanbag, okay? And if you look at my head, you understand why I want to try to keep that exposed or unexposed. Okay, on a try. In our league, there's no run back. There's no further action. And here's the key language now. Once it's apparent the kick has failed. Okay, once it's apparent the kick has failed. Now that can be that it's blocked. That can be that it's kicked over there. He swings and just barely gets a small piece of it, and you got a ball spinning around at the 5 or the 8 or whatever yard line it might be on. Once it's apparent the kick has failed, then that try has ended. You can't pick it up and run it in after that. It cannot be gathered up by the defensive team and run 90 however many yards for any action. Once B gets possession during the try, it's definitely over, and you're blowing your whistle and you want to shut it down so that you don't have people trying to kill each other. Okay? Once it's apparent the kick has failed, and the kick is over. Okay? The play is over. Okay? Cannot be run back. Oh, and then finally here, in our league, there's no such thing as a kicking ball. If a team is on offense and scores a touchdown, whatever ball they scored the touchdown with is the ball you're going to play the try with, unless something happens to that ball that you choose as an official to take it out of the game. Let's say it's a rainy day, or there's mud in the end zone, and when the guy went into the end zone, he fell in a mud puddle and the ball got marred. The ball got muddy or wet or whatever it is. You may choose to swap out the ball. If someone comes in For a try, and even for field goal for that matter, you can't have first down, second down, third down, and then the field goal team comes in and says, here's our kicking ball. Same thing with a punt. If a punter comes into the game and they're lining up for a punt, not a kick for points, but a punt, they cannot bring in a new ball. The officials will determine if it's appropriate to change the ball. If, in your opinion, the ball that was in is suitable, still meeting the requirements and hasn't been overly wetted or muddied or anything like that, play with that ball. The reasons that a team might choose to bring in a separate ball for kicking is that the ball they use for kicking often has more air in it. It will float longer, okay? It'll have more of a rebound effect when the foot contacts the ball and might carry a little farther than the standard football. Running teams often like to have a ball that is slightly deflated because it's less likely that it's going to pop out. You can squeeze it like that loaf of bread and get a hold of it better. It's less likely to pop out. Kickers think opposite. They want a ball that's really full of air so that it will carry longer and have a better rebound effect off of the foot. Okay, no kicking ball. Any questions about this stuff? Stephen? Oh yes, if you have a turnover and Team B scores, then of course they are entitled to bring their own ball in because it would be the other team's ball that would be in play if you had a pick-off, pick six, or a fumble return for a score, punt return, anything like that. So if Team B or Team R scores a touchdown, they are entitled to bring their own ball. Even then, if a guy goes, here's a kicking ball, okay, that ball should be in your rotation of balls for that team. And if he says, this is the ball we want to use, that's one of the balls they present to the beginning of the game, that's okay. It just means that ball may be in play for certain series on offense. And the quarterback can't say, oh, we don't want that ball, that's the kicking ball. It's one of your balls. And once somebody says, this ball is not going to be used for our team for some reason, then that ball is out completely. Okay?
Once you do that, it's okay if you're running like 4 balls and you do have one that deflates or whatever. You can inspect a new one and put it in the rotation with no problem.
The question that Joe is asking is this. If you have some number of balls, and let's just say 2 because it's the simple number and the number you most often get, okay? And one of those balls for some reason has a problem. It gets deflated. It's squeezed so hard that it pops, okay? Or it gets cut or something like that, or a lace breaks, and you decide to take that ball out of play, then any other legal ball that is presented by that team can go in place and rotation. It's not as though if they didn't have the ball in at the beginning of the game, they have to play with a lesser number if some ball does become defective. You can put a ball into rotation if you take a ball out of rotation. Okay, we're talking, of course, about kicks. When does a kick start and when does a kick end? Okay. In a scrimmage kick, it starts when the ball is snapped. In a free kick, it starts when the ball is kicked. Okay? Anything prior to that moment is going to be a dead ball foul. An example of that would be where you have encroachment on a kickoff by the kicking team. You don't let the ball go, the play never started. It's just the same as an encroachment in a scrimmage play. Okay, if someone crosses the 40 or whatever line you're on if you're kicking, but typically the 40, someone goes across the 40 before the ball's kicked, throw the flag, blow the whistle, shut it down. Okay, when does it end? It ends when any player, we'll go backwards here, wrong button. There we go. When any player gets possession of the ball, doesn't have to be Team R, it could be Team K gets possession of the ball, the kick has ended. It doesn't necessarily mean the down or the play has ended, but it means the kick has ended. And so you then are out of, from penalty enforcement language, you're out of a loose ball play and back into a running play. Okay? Remember always that the goal line is a plane. In a normal kickoff, okay, we have restraining lines. We'll assume this is our 40. This is our 50. That's where we're starting. Typically, you're going to have the referee in the middle, and you're going to have the linesman and the umpire, okay, at the pylons. Now, The referee's job is to determine if the kick crossed the plane of the goal line anywhere from the pylon to the pylon. What I tell my guys, if it's more than a couple of steps from the pylon, I got it. If it's within a couple of steps of the pylon, then whoever's on that pylon or that pylon determines if it went out of bounds at the half-yard line or it went across the goal line and it is in fact a touchback. Okay? But within a couple of steps is all they really got. I'll take it from here to there. Okay? And if I'm standing here, and I might be a yard deep, if the receivers are on the goal line, I'm going to be at least a step behind them, especially if there's twins, so that I can see both of them. I don't want to be even with them, okay, because then if they come in the middle, I'm kind of pinched. So I want to be at least a step behind them. If they're starting on the goal line, then I might be a yard or two deep. Okay? If they're in the field of play, then I would prefer to be on the goal line. Okay? And then all I have to do if the ball is coming is or. Okay? And then you're looking right here. Okay? If any part of the ball gets across the front edge of the line, and the front edge is the side nearest the 5-yard line as opposed to the part of the line that's nearest the end line. Okay? Any part of the ball touches the front edge of the line, touchback. Okay? Touchback. Now we will see on the video that if you start here and the ball is not from the numbers to your pylon, get your ass off the pylon. Get up here. Okay? If it's over here on this pylon or to the numbers, then you can stay here. If it's not, if the ball is anywhere from here to there, get your ass off the pylon. Okay? This is not a spectator sport where you're just there to eat popcorn. Okay? You're responsible for the end of the run. You're going to take it as far as you can take it. These guys up here, okay, these two people should be fading. Okay, fading, and they got the goal line in the other end. So if the run back goes to the 30, and we'll call that typical, the run back goes to around the 30, this person has the spot. This person has the crossfield spot if it goes out of bounds. Remember how we talked about crossfield spots? So if it's up here, okay, you can come up here and help with the spot. Okay, don't hang out here. And referees, if you see you have a kicker who's doing that pooch thing to the 20, after the first kick, get them up. They don't have to stay on the pylons all game. Okay? My normal is this. The first kickoff for each team, we got 3 guys across. Me in the middle, linesman, umpire. After that, it's like, what are we doing? And if you got somebody who's kicking deep and they're getting to the 10-yard line even, stay here. They might kick longer, might get a bounce at the pylon, stay there. If they're pooching, or he's only getting it to the 15 on his deep kick, okay, then move these guys up. And you can go the 5, the 10, wherever you think it might be. If he's pooching and they're landing around the 25, why don't these guys come up at least to the 15? Okay? There's no reason you have to have 3 guys across all night long.
Question.
Answer. Okay, kicking game can be crazy. Well, really, couldn't we say that about any part of the game? Any part can be. Out of bounds, untouched. Bless you. If it's a punt or a kickoff, okay, you got different things going on. If it's kickoff, remember we have the 3 options. We talked about that last time in our penalty. Okay, if it's a punt, it's going to be dead right there when it goes out of bounds. Now, who determines where the spot's going to be? On a punt, well, first of all, on a kickoff, you know, whoever is the closest is going to, one of these guys, or maybe one of these guys is going to get it. Closest guy to the spot's going to get it. On a punt, first rule of order is if the ball hits the ground and goes out, then back judge, line judge have it. I'm not involved from the referee standpoint. If I'm back here, if the ball hits the ground and then bounces across the line, I'm not involved in helping with the spot. Okay? Anything else, I will do my best to help with the spot. If it's kicked out on the fly, they kick from here and a punt goes this way or this way. Okay? I'll do my best. And what I want from the back judge or the line judge, if it happens to be to that side of the field, is you put your hand up and you're looking in my direction. And that is a query. That's saying, could you please help me? Okay? If you're doing this, then I know you got it. You're just going to take it. And maybe you were standing right there and you saw it go right over your head or within a couple of yards and you got it. You don't need any help. Fine. I don't have to be involved. But if you need help, it was short and shank out of bounds and you need help and you're coming up and giving me something like this, eyes wide and looking like, no clue, okay? I'll do my best to help you, okay? Hopefully I have a spot, but maybe if there's action on the punter, I got a late look and I may not have it either. And so what I tell my guys is this: I'll give you my best shot. I'll go here, and when I see you getting close, nod and chop. Right? Isn't that how we do it? Nod and chop. But I also tell them this: if they're walking up along the sideline and they feel, Bob, I've gone far enough. I know the ball did not go any shorter than this. I'm at least to the spot now. Just give me the stationary walk. Stop walking forward and just kind of do this, like the band people do. Okay? Stop walking forward. Okay? Honest. It's a method of communication. Stop walking forward. And that communicates to me that, Bob, I think I got a better spot than what you're about to give me. Okay? And I will say, okay, I'm with you. Chop. Now, it looks like I gave him the spot. But really, he told me I want the spot to be here. What's wrong with that? Okay? Aren't we working as a team out there? It's not me, it's not him, it's us. And so with that in mind, if my guys got a better spot, go for it. Okay? My ego's not that big. It's big, but not that big. Okay, it's important you understand definitions for terms like catch, muff, untouched, beyond the line, behind the line, first touching. Okay? All of those terms come into play for the kicking game, and it's important that you understand what they are. Okay? Because there's certain things that can happen based on what the determination of the play was. In other words, if you have a punt and the guy's back here and it comes straight through, hits him here, slides down his body and comes out, and a member of kicking team has the fortunate hop and it comes right to him, and he has the ball here and he starts running in the end zone, we're going to kill it. We know that because by definition, K cannot advance a muff. It's still a kick. He can get possession of it and he can keep it if it's touched beyond the line by R, but if it's a muff, he cannot advance it. Conversely, if you have a catch, I take 2 steps, and even though I was not contacted, ball slipped out, okay? Now, a member of Team K can pick it up and run because you had possession and fumble. So it's important to understand the definitions because it determines what can occur for the duration of the play. All right, Kentucky Fried Chicken. In our league, it's different, and you will have some people, you see this more in youth football. High school coaches generally know this, but you see this in youth football. No, that's not right. We don't go back there and mark 15 and play 4th down again or get a first down or whatever it might be, okay? Instead, it's from the spot of where the foul was, you're supposed to go 15. Not today. Well, maybe today. It's Thursday, and they're playing pro football today. But not in our league, okay? Our league has rules that say this: 15 yards from the previous spot and re-kick, or an awarded fair catch at the spot of the foul. Okay? An awarded fair catch at the spot of the foul. So you tell them you can take it right there where the flag is, or we'll go back there and mark 15 and they'll kick it again. No, I want there plus 15. We want to tack on. We don't do that. We don't do that.
So the results of the play.
Awarded fair catch, because it may not be the result of the play.
Right, but you have a third option.
You could decline the penalty and have the result of the play. That part is true. Okay, kick out of bounds. We have our 3 options. 5 yards from the previous spot and re-kick. Okay, you generally see this on a long kick if they think they have a good returner, that, it went far enough that we didn't really have good field position, so 5 yards, kick it again, we think we can run it back. 25 yards beyond the previous spot, this is the one where you think, yeah, let's just get it over with. We don't want to kick again. We'll just take it here. We want to be on offense. Or onside kick that was not successful and the ball went out of bounds, or any kick that didn't make it at least 25 yards, you might say, we'll take it right there. Short kick, we'll just take it right there, because if they kick it again, we probably wouldn't have that same field position. You especially see this, and this is a really advantageous option, if a team is attempting an onside kick and the onside kick goes out of bounds and you have a flag. Okay? They don't want to give them another chance to onside kick and recover. No, we'll take the ball right there. We want to decline it. Now, if you take this option, this is declining the penalty and taking the result of the play. In either of these cases, you have kick out of bounds on the blue team, okay, 5 yards and re-kick, okay? And oftentimes the referee will give the preliminary for that signal, and then the back judge will go with the ball, step off the 5, and give the final signal from the 40 to the 35 or whatever yard line you might be on there, okay? If you have this one, my mechanic is, okay, kick out of bounds on the blue team. By rule, the ball is placed on the 35, and I point at the ball. By the time I'm doing all that, Dana's got the ball right there. I point at the ball and say, by rule, ball's placed there. Okay? And remember, laterally, we're going on the inbound spot nearest the sideline where the ball went out of bounds. Okay? I reserve the right that if I come to any of your games, or if I see you on film on Friday Night Lights, to call and give you crap if you place it in the middle of the field or at any other incorrect place laterally. Okay? Some of us are anal in many ways. That's one of the things that, for me, we should have figured out. 5 people on a crew, one of the 5 should know it. Okay? One of the 5, if not all 5. Okay? So if I happen to come to one of your games and I see that, count on getting some crap. Okay? I will not let that go and say, oh, and by the way, this is a little minor point. I'm going to say, figure it out. Okay, K cannot advance a ball that is still in kick status once it's beyond the neutral zone. If we have a punt and the punt is blocked, or it's a straight up in the air, come back down behind the line of scrimmage, then K can get that ball and advance it and try to make a first down. Okay? K can advance a kick that has not gone beyond the line or has gone beyond the line and bounced back behind the line, and K then may advance that ball, and their requirement in order to keep the ball is to make the line to gain. Okay? So if you have a kick that goes up in the air, or doesn't have to go up in the air high, just goes beyond the line, bounces, and bounces back across behind the line, K can get it. Any player of K, not restricted by number or position, any player of K can get it and try to run for a first down. Okay? If they get it beyond the line, and we're not talking expanded neutral zone here, we're talking about beyond the line, okay? Then once K gets possession of a kick beyond the line, the play is over. The play is over. Right? You're going to kill it. You're not going to let him advance. Now, who determines if the ball crossed the line or not? The linesman. Mechanically speaking, okay, the linesman's job is as follows. On any scrimmage kick, okay, field goal, punt, even a try really, but we know a try isn't that important, okay, because once it's apparent the kick has failed, didn't cross the line. But if they go to a pass, then the linesman would likely have the line of scrimmage there. The linesman is supposed to park on the line and not go downfield until the ball has crossed the line. And again, in the subtle communication department, okay, as the referee, if I see the linesman heading off downfield, what do you think that tells me? The ball has crossed the line. Okay, so if I see the linesman going down, okay, that's a pretty good answer to me. If someone asks the question later, did the ball cross the line? Okay, if I see the linesman parked right there and the ball is short, I'm going to be thinking it's really close. It may have crossed the line and he's standing there because that's still the most advantageous position for him to rule on what's going on, but it's really close. Okay? And in fact, based on my position, and remember I'm on the vacated side of the field where the line judge would normally be, I'm not generally on the sideline, but if I see a short kind of a kick and there's no action right here on the kicker that I need to be taking care of, I may move up to the line of scrimmage and try to help. If it was blocked toward my side, I might try to move up there and assist to determine if the ball went across the line or not. With me?
Question. That play that you said, the ball goes beyond the leisure zone and comes back and they can advance it, could they kick it again?
How many legal kicks can we have during a single down? Uno. So the answer to your question is, yes, they can kick it, but it's going to draw a flag.
Spot foul.
Well, it's a loose ball play. Okay, it's a loose ball play, so it depends on where they get it and kick it. Okay, maybe a spot foul, likely going to be a spot foul if he got it behind the line and you didn't kill the play yet. Okay, so likely, but I don't want to say guaranteed yes. Okay, because he might run beyond the line and then kick it. Okay,
Still a spot foul.
it would be the end of the play. Okay, then it wouldn't be considered a spot. Okay, first touching is always by K. TMAR is never allowed by rule and definition to do first touching. They can touch it. They can certainly touch it. But it's not first touching, you don't drop a bag. It's like Katie bar the door. If R touches it, whoever gets it next is going to keep it if it's beyond the line. Okay, in a free kick for in or behind the neutral zone, okay, this is the onside kick kind of a thing. In a free kick, if it hasn't gone 10 yards and it's touched by K, we're bagging it, and R is going to have an option to place the ball at that spot and take off with their offense unless they subsequently commit a foul. If you have a block below the waist or some other foul by R after the time of first touching, then they lose the right to the spot of first touching. That no longer becomes an option for them. In a scrimmage kick, we have the potential for first touching beyond the expanded neutral zone. It is not a foul, it is a violation, and we drop the bag at that spot. The bag does not have to go where the ball was. We're trying to mark the yard line. So I can be over here on the sideline or at the top of the numbers or something like that, and the ball can be in the middle of the field or even way over on the other side, and all I need to do is drop it on the appropriate yard line. I don't need to zing it over there and try to hit somebody in the eye with it. Okay, you could get one of these. Okay? So, if you're doing a bag, remember that the goal of the bag is to mark the yard line. And dropping it on the yard line anywhere laterally is fine. And it's even okay if there's action and it's happening, okay, to get the bag in the general area over there. And just like a flag, at the end of the play, it's okay to say, I want to move this bag 2 yards back. I want to move the bag up to here. I'm not comfortable with my spot on the bag. I'm going to put it over here. And for referees, don't you normally ask when the flag is down, do you like that spot? Do you like that spot? Okay, you okay with that spot? And what I'm saying is, if I need to use that in terms of enforcement, do we need to adjust it so that we properly mark from the yard line where you determined the foul to have occurred? Okay? So if somebody's saying you like that spot, they're not asking about the quality or the selectivity of the call you made. Was it really pass interference? Did you really grab the face mask? Okay? They're talking about the yard line. And honest, sometimes on a pass interference, you got to wing it. And it might land 5 yards off from where you wanted it to be. Okay? Especially if I'm throwing it. Okay? And then in those cases, there's nothing wrong with the play continues, the end of the play. Okay? Some officials know when they throw that I was off. I'm just trying to get it in the area. Okay? And then you run over there and put it where you want it. And then you go report. Now if you have two flags, let's say we have a punt play or pass interference, deep. And you got the back judge and one of the wings throwing the flag, and the flags are at different spots, get them together. And then somebody goes reports. And it might be that those two people look at each other and say, I got DPI in 47. He goes, I got the same thing. Like your spot, like my spot. Put it down there, put the flags together. If the flags are separate on different yard lines, okay, I'm thinking you got two fouls, different. I'm thinking you got two different fouls. Maybe one guy has offense, the other guy has defense. Or one guy's holding and one guy has DPI. If they're together in a pile, again, subtle communication. We got two rags for the same thing. Okay? There's lots of ways that you can share information that is nonverbal. Okay, fair catch. Again, we need to understand what it is by rule and definitions for Rule 2. Valid or invalid. Valid says arm extended, okay, lateral wave, one arm. Not this, not this, not this, not this, okay? Okay? Now, these players have shoulder pads that are sometimes restrictive to go too far here. And so if they're over here kind of doing that and they got bigger pads on, did he communicate well? Did you understand what he was trying to do? Was it one of these and you weren't sure if it was the eye thing, shielding from the sun, or a signal? Okay? Now, how many people work back charge? Okay? How often do you tell the kick returner about a signal? Every friggin' time. Every friggin' time. Go back there and say, okay. And it might be as simple as this. Okay, we've talked about the signal all night. You with me on the signal? One hand with the big wave. Got it? Okay. The first time, I'm actually demonstrating. I want one hand with the big wave. You got it? One hand with the big wave. Now, why do I do that? Because the people on the bench then are going to have a hard time saying you didn't tell them. Okay? I told them and I showed them. One hand with a big wave. You got it? Okay? Benefit of the doubt goes to the receiver. Okay? He's got a lot to think about. The ball's in the air, I got to make the catch, my mom's watching, my girlfriend might be pregnant. You know, he's got all these things to think about. Okay? Benefit of the doubt to the receiver. Okay? But if he waits until the guy's bearing down on him and the guy is in his face and he gives it like one of these, okay? Did the opponent have an opportunity to react to the signal? That's a huge, important factor in whether or not you're going to throw a flag on that. If this guy's bearing down on me and he's running, not stationary, but he's running, and he's coming at me, and I wait until he's this close, okay? If I go here, he's on me by the time the arm gets here. He didn't have time to hit, or pardon me, to not hit. He might be able to veer off if he's slow. Okay? But if he's running down and he's got speed, if he's that close and I'm starting my signal, he's probably on me before the signal's over. It's too late. Now, if he's standing there stationary, you know how sometimes they huddle around that guy on the real high kick going, oh boy, I sure hope he drops this. Sure hope he drops this. And the guy's here like this, okay? And then he hits me, well then it's obvious, okay? But if he's got speed and he's coming at me and it's a late signal, did the member of the kicking team, did the gunner have a chance to react to that signal and veer off or stop in time? If, in your opinion, the answer is no, it's, sorry coach, late signal. Tell your guy to signal sooner next time. All right, any signal, valid or invalid, will cause the ball to be dead. Oh wait, we got to do one other thing over here. Okay? This really came to light last year, but it's kind of been around for a while. Okay? But last year, some people got more picky about it. In addition to valid and invalid signals, when you're attempting to make a signal, you know, we know this is invalid, we know this is valid. What about the getaway? We know this is get away, get away, get away. If it's down here, at what point does get away become invalid signal? What's our determining factor? Right here, shoulders. Get away is down here, two hands, and it's like the incomplete signal, like the no good signal, below the shoulders. If these hands get above the shoulders and they're saying get away, then I'd like to see a flag for invalid signal. Okay? Get away is down here. I don't know what the hell I'm doing is up here. Okay? All right, now we're here. Any signal, valid or invalid, will cause the ball to be dead once possessed. Okay? And the rationale behind this is simple. If there's a signal, there's the potential for some confusion that somebody could think it was a signal, somebody could say it wasn't a signal, and if you determine it was a signal, valid or invalid, then it's over. So you don't have some players still participating and going at speed, and other players standing around and getting killed. Okay? Notice when I moved over here, all of that action we had here stopped. There's some respiratory stuff going on over there that I don't want to be part of. Only the player, and it could be plural, players who signal get protection. So if you have twins deep and one guy signals, okay, and this guy makes the catch, the ball's dead, but he can get popped without a flag. Okay? If one guy signals and the other guy makes the catch, the play will be over because you had a signal. Doesn't matter who has possession. As soon as anybody gets possession following a signal, it's over. But if he didn't signal and I did, and he caught the ball, no protection. He can still get popped. And the thought process is real simple. If I'm the gunner and I'm coming down on him and you got a signal over there, I have no clue that there's a signal over there. I'm getting him. And that's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I was watching him. I saw his eyes go up. I'm thinking he's got the ball coming at him, and I'm going to get him. And if there's a signal over there somewhere, sorry folks, I didn't see it. That's legit. One hand waving side to side while the kick is in flight. Now, you can only have a valid signal when the kick is in flight. Once it hits the ground and it's bouncing around, can I do this and get a fair catch? You can do it and get flagged. Players need the opportunity to complete the catch, very slow whistle. Once upon a time, before we had 5-man and it was 4-man, I was working the line judge position. I had a game. This is a long time ago, before I was the referee. I was the line judge. It was a long time ago. It was 4-man. And I'm downfield, okay? And it was Shadow Mountain versus Washington, and Washington's punting, and we're at Shadow Mountain, and this guy's a beautiful signal, okay? And I'm seeing all these guys come at him. It was high and not too long, and so he's got a lot of time to stand under there. He's tying his shoes, and he's adjusting his crotch, and he signals, okay? And he's still waiting for the ball to come down, and I'm just in time. I'm thinking, this guy's about to get killed. This guy's about to get killed. All these guys are coming down and bearing down on him. He's about to get killed. I need to protect him. My job as the line judge back here is to protect this guy, okay? And sure enough, I'm thinking, as soon as he gets that ball, I got to protect him. That's my job. I'm back here all by myself. It's 4-man, all by myself. And the ball comes in, and I'm thinking, he's got it. And I blow the whistle, and about the time the W in the tweet is happening, it goes straight through and hits the ground. And of course, the kickers recover it. Okay? Oops. Okay? Now we have provisions in the rule book to cover that kind of stuff. So you can do that. But the kicking team wasn't very happy with me. Okay? So there's no rush. If they hit him, it's their fault, not your fault. Okay? If he gets hit, it's it's the opponent's fault. It's not your fault. Slow whistle. When the ball is kicked, any player can really only do 3 things to that ball. What can he do to it? Well, first, he can muff it or touch it. He can recover it and catch it. What's the difference between recovery and catch? One means it hits the ground. The other means it didn't hit the ground. You can figure out which. If you don't know, read Rule 2 again. Touch or muff, okay? This means there was an attempt to get it. This means it may or may not have been an active role on the part of the person who contacted the ball, okay? It could have bounced into you. They can happen in different areas, inner, behind, or beyond. Of course, we know that already. Okay, so how can K keep the ball in a free kick? If this is the restraining line, and again, we're not talking about penalties or specials. Let's call this the 40. This is the 50. If K touches it in here, we're beanbagging it, and he can recover it, right? He just doesn't get to keep it. If it's here...
So would you please move to the right or left, please, because those of us in the back cannot see the board.
Would you please move your chair? I'm not going back over there. There's some respiratory stuff going on I want to be a part of. I have to stay in the camera range, okay? We're filming. Okay, so if we have it go beyond the restraining line, beyond the 50, then he can touch it, but it's not first touching, right? Once it goes 10 yards, we're not bagging it anymore. He can touch it, and he can let it go and keep going. Normally he's not, but he could, okay? Or he could fall on it. Or could he pick it up and run with it? No. Not very far. And honest, we've had games, maybe most of us in this room have had a game where they try to do that kick where they bounce it, kick it hard into the ground, try to get the big bounce. And the guy over near the sideline is running and he jumps up and catches it and tries to run down the sideline and score for Team K. Okay? And we've had that happen in our games, and we go, whoop, and he gets to keep the ball. We're going this way. Kicking team recovers. Okay? It's gone 10 yards. The coach goes, what's going on? Last week we scored on that play. What's the answer to that? Anybody know the answer to that? The answer is, I understand that may have happened last week, coach, but tonight we're playing by the rules. Okay? And then you can always pull the card about, well, you can't, I can. You can always play the card that says, hey, how about if I get the state rules interpreter right now? And whatever he decides is what we're doing. Okay? You should see their faces light up when I say that. Yeah, that's a great idea. No, I'm in favor of that because I know you're wrong. Get him right here, right? You'll get him right now? I'll get him right now. It won't take that long either. Okay? I just want to make sure before we do this that whatever he decides, we're going to go with. We're going to agree on that and there'll be no further discussion. Whatever he says, done deal. Yeah, let's get him here right now. It's over. No touchdown. No more discussion either. All right. If the ball goes 10 yards and hits the ground before or after 10 yards, okay, then K can keep it. It must hit the ground and it must go 10 yards, okay? The sequence of these two things is not important, okay? It can hit the ground first before it goes 10 and then go 10, or it can go 10 and then hit the ground. The order in which those two things occur is not important, but both must be present. You cannot have the little blooper kick that goes 15 yards and K goes down 15 yards and catches it in the air and keeps it. He can catch it in the air 15 yards, but then it's over. Ours ball at the spot where K gained possession.
Bob, on that, how do you rule that?
How do I rule that?
Because it's not first touching. Is it?
No. As soon as K gets possession of a kick, it's over.
I know. How do you rule that? Do you call that first touching? Do you call that illegal?
No.
Isn't it?
Well,
I thought it was
if-
catching interference on a free kick.
Well, the answer to that is if there's any player of Team R in the general vicinity that had a play on the ball, and you're giving benefit to the Team R player, he may have seen this big guy coming after the ball and he backed off, but if he had not been there, I would have been able to go in and get it. So if there's a Team R player in the area, yes, you have a flag.
That I know.
But if there's no Team R player in the area, and it's a bloop. Let's say they look like they're lining up for a free kick to the left, okay? And then they kick a little bloop shot over here, and you got one guy for Team K over here, and he runs over and catches in the air, and there's no R players around there. It's dead, and it's ours ball. In terms of what the rule is, it's covered by rule because K cannot maintain possession because you didn't have both ingredients, 10 yards and touching the ground. And so you just kill it, and you point this way, and the coach is going, but it's our ball! You didn't touch the ground, coach. I'm sorry. You don't get to keep it. Okay? So that's the ruling. Mechanically, you're just going to go to the spot, you're going to kill it, and you're going to point direction.
You're not going to.
You don't beanbag it? You don't do anything? You don't
There's no bag because the bean bag is for this area. Once it goes 10 yards, it's no longer first touching. First touching occurs for a free kick in or behind the neutral zone. Once it goes 10, yeah. Okay? Okay. Touch, recover, and catch on a free kick. If it's in or behind, he can touch it, he can recover it, he can catch it, and it's dead in all cases, and it's ours ball in all cases. The only exception is if R runs in there and touches it, then it's a free ball and anybody gets it. But this is working on the assumption that R hasn't jumped in there and touched it first. Okay? Now, if R jumps in here and touches it, then it's anybody's ball. Whoever gets it keeps it. If R touches it anywhere, doesn't have to be beyond or behind, anywhere. If R touches it, free ball. Anybody gets it, keeps it.
R touches it first. If K touches it first.
If K touches it first, okay, then R touches it, it becomes momentarily a free ball, and anybody can recover it. And the result of the play could be that K recovered the ball, and you might come up and say, R touched it, recovered by K. But then you're going to go spot of first touching, R is going to accept that spot of first touching, and you're going to go back over there. So it's a violation, it's not the result of the play. K could still recover the ball, and end of the play, result of the play, have possession of the ball and be allowed to keep it. We know, just like if there's pass interference on a play, okay, we know they're going to take that violation or that penalty. So the result of the play could be that R touched it after, you have first touching, sequence of events. First touching here, touched by R here or here, recovered by K, K's ball. Now we're going to go back to the spot of first touching. Because what you don't know as the covering official is what if you had this sequence of events. First touching by K, okay, then touching by R, and then block below the waist by R, then recovery by K. Okay? A penalty by R after first touching, they subsequently foul, okay? They lose this right. With me? So it isn't automatically R's ball, and you could have a result of the play that's different. Follow? Okay. All right. End zone is always dead. Nobody runs it out of the end zone. Okay? If you have a punt, once the ball crosses the end zone, okay, it's over. So in our league, we do not have the jumping from the 1 and diving into the end zone and tapping it back out in the field of play and downing it on the 1. Once it crossed the plane of the goal line, touchback. So yeah, you could reach in there and tap it back out, but it was already dead. It's already a touchback.
Doesn't have to pass, it just has to touch it, right?
What's that?
It just has to break it, it doesn't have to cross.
Doesn't have to touch anything, not the ground, not the post. When it breaks the plane, when the kick breaks the plane, it's over. Okay? Sir?
Just a quick question, or I guess clarification. If it's just like a bloop kick and it hasn't touched the ground, and K touches it in an attempt to catch it, but he doesn't catch it, that's first touching, correct?
Where did it occur?
After the 10 yards.
Then it is not a spot of first touching.
It's not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay? It's not a first touching because he has a legal right to possess the ball there.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if there's a player of R in the area, then it's kick catching interference because he has to allow R an opportunity to make a play on the ball. Okay? If there's no R player, K can make an attempt, muff it, and it's a free ball. Whoever gets it keeps it. With me?
I'd like to hear that again. So the ball, K kicks the ball.
Okay, we're talking about a free kick.
Free kick
It goes beyond the neutral zone.
without touching the ground first.
Right, it's a bloop kick. It's a pooch. And it goes 15 yards, and K is the first player in the area.
With no one are attempting to receive the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and they muff it, and it touches the ground, and they recover it. Now it's their ball. Sure. That's what you're saying. I just want to make sure I clarify. Sure.
I'm thinking. If he catches it on the fly, it's R's ball there. If he touches it and it goes to the ground, then it has met the requirement, hasn't it?
No. On a free kick, Bob, any ball in flight beyond the neutral zone end cannot be touched by K.
Legally.
The kick catching interference if it's still in flight.
Thank you. I appreciate the help. See, I screw up regularly.
So even if no one in R is in the vicinity trying to make a catch.
Flag.
Kick catching interference, it is a foul.
Flag.
Okay.
See, I'm down here, so I'm not here, so I don't normally have that, but
It's in flight. Hasn't met both requirements.
Person in the zone, in the area, is on a scrimmage kick.
thank you.
Okay, now, then,
Oh.
go back to what Dave asked earlier. You had that one that, okay, it is kick catching interference if he was a fluke. Now, what if he kicked it and it hit the ground and, right in front of it and bopped up 15 yards? And
Legal.
comes down and grabs it.
K keeps it, because now you've met both requirements. It hit the ground and it went 10 yards. Doesn't have to be in any particular order. If it has those two components, then K can keep it. Okay? So to clarify, earlier I misspoke. Rare, but it happens. Okay? If it's kicked in the air, free kick, goes 10, and K is the first to touch it in the air on a free kick, not a scrimmage kick, but a free kick, it is kick catching interference whether or not any player of R is in the area. Okay, how big is the neutral zone? Girls ask this question all the time. Okay, in a scrimmage kick, how big is the neutral zone? How big is it? Anybody want to answer? It's the action at the snap, okay. No, that's talking about how long that's how long it lasted. All right, we're on camera, be careful. Yeah. Okay, how big is the neutral zone? The neutral zone at the time the ball is snapped is the length of the ball. And then we get into something called the expanded neutral zone, which goes how many yards? 3 yards downfield. Okay? Now what does K need to do to recover and keep a ball on a scrimmage kick? Recover and keep. Okay? First of all, they need to get it behind, one option is behind the neutral zone and then make the line to gain, right? Or have it touched by R beyond, and then they can recover and keep it, right? So those are the two options for K to recover and keep the ball. The first is in or behind the neutral zone, recover it, and then subsequently make the line to gain, right? Or if it goes beyond the line, touched beyond the line by Team R, then K can recover and keep it wherever they get it.
No, even if it's less than the line to gain?
If R touches it beyond the neutral zone, yes. If R touches a scrimmage kick beyond the neutral zone, whoever gets it keeps it. Okay?
Bob, I go back to this gentleman's statement. Say say K gets down there and the ball's in flight.
Which kick we talking about? Free or scrimmage kick?
He tries to catch it, but he muffs it. All right? He's bouncing around. R tries to grab it. He muffs it. All right? Then K jumps on it.
Okay? Here's what we got. At the time you have K with no R player around and the ball is in the air, he is allowed to legally catch the ball and then the kick and the play end. If he is making that attempt and he muffs the ball, now on a scrimmage kick you have first touching, and you bag that spot. If R subsequently touches the ball, then it becomes momentarily a free ball and whoever gets it keeps it. Then you consider other action. And if there is no other action other than the spot of first touching, then R has options on that spot and can take it there. If you had spot of first touching and a subsequent foul by R, then they lose the right to the spot of first touching and whoever got the ball keeps it. Follow? Potentially with the foul. I mean, depending on where the foul occurred. They might decline the foul, will keep the ball. Okay, now we're talking PSK, and that's the noise they were making over here earlier when I went over here. Okay, it's post-scrimmage kick enforcement. We talked about the requirements. It has to occur during the kick. R must end up with the ball, okay, and it has to be the foul has to be beyond the line of scrimmage. Okay, this is the length of the ball. Okay. Touch beyond the neutral zone. Or maybe they have it in here, let's see. Oh, nope. There is another option here to recover and keep the ball is recover it behind the line and make the line to gain. They can still do that. Now, here are the three elements for PSK, and you have to have all three, otherwise, sorry, Charlie. Penalty is at least 3 yards downfield. R has the ball at the end of the down. The foul is during the kick and by R. Foul is by R during the kick. So they have it in 4 pieces, but it's really 3. All right, some other scrimmage kick stuff. Kick catching interference, okay? What we talked about is R must be in the area in order for K to be fouling or have a flag if they're catching a kick on the fly, if it's a scrimmage kick, okay? If it's a free kick, R catching the ball beyond with no R player is a foul, kick catching interference. Thank you, Mr. Hollywood. All right? Kick out of bounds. In kick out of bounds, on a scrimmage kick, it's just out of bounds. That's where it goes out of bounds. Okay? There's no three options. It's not necessarily a flag because a punt went out of bounds. It's just that's where it went out of bounds. End of the down. K may advance a ball if they get possession behind the neutral zone. So if the kick is blocked and K picks it up and tries to run with it, that's okay, it's alive. Or if it's a short kick and it doesn't go beyond the neutral zone, or if it goes beyond and bounces back, or if you have that weird thing that we never have here called the big wind, and the wind, it's in the air and it never touches the ground, but it blows back, went beyond, airborne, and the wind blew it back, K can advance it. And then we have the scrimmage kick formation numbering exception. If you don't know that by now, just don't work umpire. Okay, scrimmage kick. Remember, our neutral zone is smaller. K touches it or recovers it behind. If they touch it behind, it's ignored. If they recover it behind, they can advance it. If R touches it in here, it has no impact on K's ability to keep the ball. Okay? R touching it here means whoever has it at the end of the down gets to keep it. K touching it here may be first touching, may be kick catching interference. If anybody touches it here, it doesn't matter because once the ball crosses the plane of the goal line, it's dead, it's over, it's a touchback, sayonara. Read all that, hurry.
Again.
All right, kicking mechanics. Left-footed kicker. And so what we have here is the holder and the kicker on this side, and this is a standard field goal attempt. Remember, this is not swinging gate, so our specialty mechanic, experimental, is not in play here. Okay, on all field goals, even if they line up swinging gate on a field goal, we're going to do this. The umpire stays, and he's favoring the vacated side of the field where the line judge has left. Okay? He has the line of scrimmage all by himself, and I like to point out to this guy. Okay? Matt. Just you. It's all you on the line. Matt, it's all you. Okay? This guy's gone. Kicker and the holder's right here. All day long. Okay?
Hey, Bob, would you be okay with the head linesman if he could pinching in?
Talking about moving away from this line. My only concern is this. If you're coming here, I'd never come inside the top of the numbers. Never. Okay? If you're in here and the ball's over here, I'm okay. But what I want you to be always cognizant of is you've got this pylon and you've got this sideline all by yourself. You have no help. Okay? And so if you come a step or two in, I'm okay. All right? I'm not going to broadcast that and saying that is the preferred mechanic. The preferred mechanic is right here. Okay? Under the post. If you have a busted play, this guy is moving here along this line, and his primary responsibility is this line and this pylon. And then if he has enough time, he can come up and help here, depending on how long the field goal is and how long this takes to develop. As an example, if they start running over here and all this stuff, he's still coming over here. Got it? He's still coming over here. Because once the play is busted, he's thinking, I don't care about the post now, I care about this line. Okay? So I want to get over here, and then he can work back if time presents. If the play's busted and it starts over here, and then reverse field, now we're coming back, I have some expectation that he's going to be there. Okay? Initially, if it busts and goes hard here, or this way and up, okay, right here, you got to get over here and then follow the play. Okay? We know that this is not covered. And so if you have a busted play, it's do the best you can. If it's a play that's going quickly toward that pylon, right at it, okay, you got the pylon primary. Now, he can move up and help. He can step back and help. He can move over here and help, but primary. Everybody else is secondary. Follow? Right-footed field goal kicker. The important things to point out are he stays here. Okay, he doesn't come across. He stays on the open side. The referee is the guy who makes the significant move because he always wants to see the hands of the holder and the handling of the ball as it's placed for kick. He never wants to be over here and looking at this guy's back. There's no advantage there. Okay? Also, if he's here, he can see what this guy's knees are doing in case there's a fake, a pitch, a busted play. Because the rules are different for what this guy can do with the ball if he has knee or knees plural on the ground or if he rises. And so this guy needs to know knee on the ground, no knee on the ground. And there have been plays where this ball is snapped, his knee is on the ground, this kicker starts running this way, and this guy receives the thing here, just tosses it over his head. And he knows this guy's going to come over here and try to score. Okay? If he doesn't rise, as soon as he pitches the ball, the play's over. With me? Because he's down. He cannot pitch the ball if his knee's down. Play's dead. Right there. And if it's a field goal attempt, as opposed to a try, then it's going to be B's ball right there. It's a running play and the run ended. Right there. Okay? If he rises, now he's a runner and he can do all the things that a runner can normally do. You can still worry about illegal forward pass and all the other stuff, but if he rises, he's just another player. Okay, swinging gait, this is the new one. Most important is this is here. And in the past, remember past now, not this year, in the past, he started here and he started on this post and he had responsibility for the non-hook post, right? And then as soon as they shifted, this guy hauled ass up here. Honest, I mean, you had to run. You had to run, you had to get over there. Okay? Now what we're saying is, if they're in swinging gait, we're going to keep two guys on the line for a PAT. Notice this is on the 3. This is not a field goal. This is a PAT. Okay? You've always got the kicker and holder if you're the referee, and the umpire will move here and has this post. Now he also is going to have his second eye here. Okay? This person and this person can also, once the ball is snapped, help with action on the snapper. Because if it's a snap kick, he may not have a really good second eye. Okay? And if the snapper stays down, does not lift his head and do something to engage, if he keeps his head down and the ball is snapped and then kicked, if somebody comes and crashes the center in a delayed manner, half a second or a full second after the snap, if his head is still down and they hit him on the back of the neck, right here, or right here, either whoever sees it, okay? Follow? This guy's going to be busy.
Question for you on that one, though. You have a responsibility of the headline for the line judge, for the snapper, roughing the snapper. There was instances where that didn't happen last year, and there was roughing the snapper. And I'm under the goalpost. This is a 4-man, by the way, but I still see it. Is that a flag that I can throw? Or
Anybody who sees a roughing foul can throw it. I don't care what your position is. If you have a look at it, if I'm here and the snap is clean and the kick is clean and there's no threatening of this kicker, nobody's rushing in there, and I see somebody bust the snapper, I can throw the flag from right there. Now, I hope he's not seeing it.
that's my...
I hope he's not seeing it. But if you happen to see it, you know, the kick was such that it was still in my line of vision and it was a nasty. I saw the guy dive in and I did see action on the snapper that I thought was a foul. I don't care who you are entitled to throw the flag. There is no restriction that says, oh, I'm too far away or I don't have the proper letter on my shirt. I can't throw that. We're talking safety. The purpose of any roughing foul is safety. They're busting somebody. You need to protect them and provide safe play. You okay with that? Whoop. Yes?
Well, go ahead. I'll ask the question after this.
Okay, when they shift, notice that these two guys did not shift. Okay, the only guy that moved is this guy, and I'm going to go backwards. He started a little deep, okay? So in case they snap it, he's deeper than the deepest offensive player. That's the concept, okay? And then once they shift, he moves in a little tighter so he has better action. Honestly, for me, I'm normally about here. Because I want to be able to see this guy coming around the corner, and I want to see this block. Now I know I have help this year, but in past, I've been here and I like that angle. So I'm probably going to be on the 10 for a standard try. Okay? Referees, get where you're comfortable. You don't want to be too close, because if something happens around this end, you don't want to be in where they're going to throw somebody into you, or a guy's running this wide and you're impeding there. Okay?
Going back to the question. Go back to the slide. According to that slide here, the right tight end, when he comes back into position, he's going to be ineligible. So who's going to communicate that, and who's responsible to make that communication set?
Okay. Now, the question is, if this guy originally was lined up on the line, okay, when he shifts over to this spot, he cannot gain eligibility through a shift. Okay? If he lined up 1 yard deep and you had 7 other guys on the line, okay, because if this guy's on the line and steps back, he still remains eligible, and this guy could be effectively a slot here. So you have to look and see where they lined up. If he lines up initially on the line, even though let's say he's number 88, has a legal number, but initially lined up here and then said, ready, shift, and he comes over there, this player would then be ineligible if he was a lineman here, because even though you now are in an eligible position and you have an eligible number, if you initially lined up in an ineligible position, you cannot gain eligibility through a shift. Okay? That is part of the numbering exception, okay, for scrimmage kick formation. I don't want to confuse that with a standard scrimmage play. Okay? So the question becomes, who knows this? And if they run a fake now, this guy gets the ball, gets up, sprints out here, and this tight end goes down and out and catches it. Okay? Who knows this? And the answer is, let's go back. Let's go back. I think this guy has to know that. Okay? He's got to look and see, where is this guy? Who are my 7? Who are my 7? Okay? These guys are looking and saying, who are my eligibles when they have this formation? And then if they shift, these guys may know, this guy should know. Okay? Because from here, 13 yards away, you may not know if this guy is on or slot. This guy will know that. And this guy is the one who's counting 7 along with him. These two guys are counting 7. Okay? So if this guy is on and this guy's a slot, then he can legally shift to this position and remain eligible. He's not gaining eligibility, he's remaining eligible. With me?
So Bob, so do you go ahead and, so go back. So, I keep wanting to go to.
Yes, mother.
So here the umpire, like you said, that.
In the original formation, they're going to say, I got 88 and 2.
Right.
Or he might say, I got this guy and I don't know about him. This guy's eligible regardless, but I don't know about him.
Okay, so once they move, so you have the pass, it goes to him, do you go ahead and throw the flag and then talk to the linesman, or do you?
Yeah, mechanically get the flag on the ground and then go sort it out for new information. And it's similar to this, okay? I had something downfield that looks like pass interference, and then the ball was thrown underneath, okay? I don't know if the ball crossed the line or not. Mechanically, get the flag on the ground and then come up and get all the information. It's much easier to do this and wave it off and say the ball did not cross the line, therefore there's no pass interference downfield, we're waving the flag. Versus you got nothing on the ground, you have a huddle, and then all of a sudden you're marking something and a flag never went, or 2 minutes after the play, okay, get the flag on the ground. It's always easy to wave it off.
I think that in that situation.
We're not going back. It's enough. We have time limits. Okay, normal kickoff. See me after class, or send it to your congressman. We talked about here, middle, pylon, pylon. Okay? That's the way you're starting. This is normal kickoff. After the first kickoff for both teams, okay, then the referee might determine, okay, in some cases you have hard-nosed linesmen or hard-nosed umpires say, we want to move up. We want to move up. Okay? Agree. As long as you know you got it all, okay, or you got help over here. And remember that just because you start on the 10 doesn't mean you're restricted and can only go this direction. If you start on the 10 and you get a long kick or the wind blows or it starts bouncing, you can go back to the pylon if need be. There's the kick. He's got it. Now, let's go back. Okay? Now, when the ball went here, I sure hope he's not there. If the ball goes from the 40 to the 10, that's 50 yards. He should be able to go at least 5, if not 10 or 15. He should be off. This guy, too, can come off somewhat. Now, if it's on this side, he's not going to be too aggressive because you could get a bad bounce or whatever, okay? But he's got the goal line, certainly from here to here if the ball stays inside the numbers. Okay, so we kick. These guys got to get off the pylons. And they have, notice this, they ran it back to the 46. They got the spot. Okay? I hope you're not staying on the goal line there. You can come up behind. But the answer is you never want to pass opposing players. You could pass one guy, you could pass 2 guys on the same team, but once you get one of these guys down here, you don't go past 2 players from opposite teams. Because if you do, they could start fighting and you'd miss it. Right, if it's an obvious short kick or what we call an onside kick, then we're playing 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you got the middle. Now notice here you got the jump. He stays on the line he started on, and the umpire goes from the pylon to the K restraining line. In this case, this guy was already on the 40. He comes up. Right? When do you do that? Whenever you think you're going to onside kick. It doesn't have to be the last 2 minutes of the half or any time. If you think they're going to onside kick, get there. Okay, punt mechanics. Standard punt mechanics. Unless we're in reverse goal line, the line judge is going downfield. Right? You've got the line all the way. It's all yours. These people both get on the vacated side, okay? And he's looking back into the snapper. Right? This guy has the sideline in case there's any kind of a fake or busted play. He has the goal line on a long return. He's going to be at least inside the numbers. Okay? I wouldn't go any farther than the top of the numbers. If they have twins and you got a guy right here, well then maybe you go a little bit to there, but should generally be, because you got all the way over to here. Okay? He should stay near the sideline, shouldn't be coming in too much. If you're in goal line, in other words, you're kicking from the 40 and in, you don't want to be standing goal line extended. You want to be standing on the end zone side of the pylon with the pylon in front of you looking back into the field of play. If anything happens where the goal line is threatened and the ball's bouncing and you're trying to determine did it bounce into the goal line and I got a touchback, you just take a step to here. Okay, you can step over there and look in there, but as long as the ball is back this way, there's no advantage to be here. You should be a yard or 2 deep. Foot on the line isn't a big deal. I normally like to have both feet in the out of bounds area, but you know, who's picky, okay? But the key is the pylon is between you and the field of play, okay? And you're looking back into the field of play. Anybody know him? It's Warner. Okay, coin toss. Any questions on this? Pretty easy. Kickoff on the goal line opposite the press box. Okay, counting ours players. This is four-person mechanic, by the way. Okay? This is for underclass football and youth football. We're not going to spend a lot of time on these. You should be studying these on your own. Okay, four-person mechanics, normal kickoff. Onside kick, you put 3 guys up with 1 guy on each end of the restraining line. You only need 1 guy on this line. If you're short a guy, your 5th guy. And then he can really go anywhere, okay? Wherever you think action's going to be. Generally toward the center. And in case they do just decide to kick it long and race down there and try to beat somebody, you got to be back to the goal line. Counting players, 4-man mechanics, okay? Scrimmage kick, 4-man mechanics. The linesman is the guy going down, and he's deeper than the deepest receiver. On punts, the line judge is going down. I said linesman earlier. Line judge is going down. It's the L. He's got the line of scrimmage all by himself. I would have this person a little bit further off, the snapper. Four-person PAT, the line judge has the hook post. The linesman has the kicker and the holder. And then if you're snapping outside the 15, the line judge has it all. Here's your picture. Here's your picture. Points of emphasis. We're going to work Pop Warner games. All other leagues will be added as Rick signs contracts. Special rules. An example of a special rule in Pop Warner is this. We normally have the white towel rule, no markings. Okay? Some Pop Warner teams sell colored towels, or grandma can pay extra and have the kid's number on there as part of a fundraiser. We're not restrictive with towels as long as whatever is on the towel is not offensive. It cannot say kill the dragons or 88 sucks or anything like that, okay? It has to be a positive message, okay? If it says something like kill or has a verb of violence in there, then we're going to make them take it off or turn it around. If they argue about that, you're going to make them take it off that day. You're going to record the name of the team. You're going to report it to the field monitor, and you're going to call your area supervisor, Rick, or whoever it might be, depending on where you work, okay? And let them know, hey, I had the Dragons team, and they all had towels that said, kill them MFs, okay? And I didn't let them wear them. He'll take care of that, okay? If it just has the number on it, or a smiley face, or logo of their team, we're good. Okay, here's something else you need to know about Pop Warner, and it applies to high school football as well. We know the deal about sleeves, right? Compression sleeves. What do we say if it's a compression sleeve? The Allen Iverson style. Take it off. The player can play the game as soon as they take it off, right? There is a major sporting goods manufacturer, starts with an N and it has a swoosh, who has developed a compression sleeve that goes from here to somewhere in here, and it's got a little pad on it right there. Because it includes a pad as part of the original manufactured garment, it is legal. It is legal.
During youth football, Bob, generally as part of their pregame, or they line up and they go through where league personnel take a look at the uniform and check it and make sure that everything's okay.
Yep.
So as a general rule, unless something is, as you say, offensive, like on the towel, and they've been through that series of checks, wouldn't you say generally I'll allow it unless there's something really out of bounds about it?
Typically, yes, okay? But what if a guy, here's an example. The league personnel may not be picky, but let's say, and Rick's in the room, so he can certainly have a voice and an opinion on this, a guy comes out with 7 wristbands going all the way up the arm, okay? Take it off. You can have 1 down here. If he comes out with what I'll call the standard Allen Iverson variety compression sleeve, take it off. But now we have a manufacturer, and we have one team that has presented to the AZFOA, okay, that you are going to be officiating our games, and one of our coaches brought this to the league, okay? Give us a ruling on this. And we have told them that it's a manufactured product with a pad, which makes the compression sleeve legal. And I have to believe that if Nike's making it, they have a large advertising budget, okay? And we live in a world of film and copycats, so I would think that you may see this before the season ends on some high school teams, okay? We have checked with the federation. We didn't decide this, just me, okay? We checked with the federation and asked them, sent them the picture from Nike and said, this is a product that's manufactured. We believe because a youth football league has presented this to us as some of our coaches want to wear these, that this could show up on high school games. And they said legal. So if you see it in a high school game, the dividing line of legal versus not legal, does it include a pad?
Has to be manufactured with that pad.
Clearly, no, there is no sign like the helmet. There's no sticker like the helmet. Okay? If it is not a manufactured product as all one piece, then they can have whatever combination of pieces on their own, not making it legal. But if it is the manufactured product, compression sleeve with a built-in pad, okay, it's legal. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of not legal. Compression sleeve, and you remember back in the day, sport coats had patches on the sleeve. They were not pads, they were patches. If you have a compression sleeve with that style non-padded patch, okay, compression sleeve with a slip-over elbow patch, not a single garment manufactured in that manner. 2 pieces. Follow along? We don't care what the length is. We don't care about the size of the pad. If it has a pad included in the original manufactured product, legal. Follow along? Okay. We tell these youth leagues that all of our officials will be AIA registered with a background check, and they should be AZFOA members, otherwise they shouldn't get assignments. Okay? So make sure if you plan to work youth football that you have registered with both of these and paid your dues and you're on the roster. We don't have the schedules yet for distribution, and as they come out, we will make sure you get them. The first date I understand is the 25th. Okay? Arbiter is the assignment tool that we use, the software piece. So make sure that your information is correct and that you go in and block dates and work as far into the future as possible, because when he gets them, he's going to start signing them. And if he says, oh, I forgot to go in and mark that morning, my wife wanted to have some fun, so I don't want to work any games before noon because we're going to sleep in and... Okay? So mark your dates. You don't have to block out complete dates. You can block out mornings, afternoon, after 4 p.m., stuff like that, and Arbiter allows that to occur. Okay? You need to get on Arbiter when assignments come out. It will normally send you an email that says, you have new assignments. You need to get in there by 8 o'clock on Wednesday, that's our deadline, to accept the game. By 8:15, he can legally go in and pull that game from you. And you can say, oh, well, I only check my email on Thursdays. You may lose games if that's the case. If you're not sure of the game site, look at Arbiter. It'll tell you, and you can get directions. We wear the real uniforms. These sports pants, baggy shorts are not acceptable. Shirt should be tucked in, hat should be clean. Good luck with the clean hats. Okay, 4-man mechanics, review the mechanics. We like to be there 20 minutes early. We understand sometimes that's harder. Assign or. Okay. If you have problems at a game site, when in doubt, play the game, then report it and find out for next week. If it's a clear violation, report it and then tell them, here's what I did. The thing like kill 88. Okay? If they have that on their towels, you're within your rights to say, that's not legal and I'm not doing that. Well, last week we had writing on towels. Last week nobody said anything about kill 88. Today we're playing by the rules, and I'm not going to let you wear that because that's offensive, and I'm going to tell the assigner, we'll get it sorted out. But for today, sorry. Okay? And it's kind of helpful if you know who you're working with to do that. I believe this, but I am a crew chief, that whoever's listed as a referee should be the receiver of the communication. Okay? The referee shouldn't have to be calling, Glenn, are you working with me this week? Dave, did you get that assignment? You should be communicating, and it doesn't have to be phone. Send them an email that says, got it, see you there. Okay? If there's a problem and you can't work, unless you're on your way to the game and you have a car wreck, you should be communicating in advance. Okay? I broke my leg on my Friday night game. Send them an email at midnight. Trust me, the assigners check stuff early in the morning on Saturday. Okay? Not everybody gives free food. Okay? You should be bringing your own water and whatever food you might want to consume during the time you're there. You know how many assignments you have. You should consider it a luxury if they provide food or beverage. Okay? It is not a requirement. Yeah, it's not a buffet. Okay? It is not the hot dog eating contest. Okay? If you're working 2 games, you should be allowed, if they're providing food for free, you should be allowed 1 entree item. And it's not a hot dog every half. Okay, act professional. Remember that parents are on the sidelines, and these coaches are often the dad, and they haven't had necessarily any significant formal training. They haven't had the benefit of someone like me standing up for 6 meetings telling them how they should do it. Okay? And sometimes you get weirdness. Okay, and if you get weirdness, deal with the weirdness and understand that here's a wonderful football official adage that you can use at any level game you want. The more excited they get, the calmer you need to be. It is not a contest to see who can yell the loudest, who can stick their chest out the farthest, okay? I've been doing this is year 39 for me, okay? And I will tell you this, I've never lost. You have the hammer, okay? You don't need to display the hammer and swing it every time you go out there, okay? You will win, so you don't have to rub it in their face, okay? You say, this is what we're doing today, okay? If you disagree, we'll take it up later, but for today, that's what it is. You don't have to say, hey, F you and your mama. That doesn't work, at least not for me. Okay. It's okay to talk it over. Be willing to work at multiple locations during the season. Once in a while it happens on the same day. They got a morning game at Deer Valley and an afternoon game at Greenway or something like that. But understand that you're just like in high school football, every week you could be at a different place. If you work with newer officials, I wouldn't necessarily call it a privilege, but it's an opportunity, okay? And all of us at one point in time were young. Okay? And we appreciated having someone help us. And it's okay. It's okay in a game, okay, if a guy makes a mistake to say, I'm going to pick up that flag. Okay? Now, you don't want to just say, I'm going to pick up the flag and I'm going to give him a touchdown. You got to be careful about how much you fix on the fly. Okay? But it's okay to say, no, that really wasn't a foul. And stuff like that is all right. Okay? Understand that you're the senior person. You're there to create fairness and a level playing field. I don't think we get paid on the site anymore at any locations, right?
There's 2 or 3.
If you get paid at the site, count your money.
Yeah, there's 2, a couple.
Okay? If they hand you the money, don't just grab it and say thank you and then go out to your car and say, hey, you shorted me $10. If you are concerned about the correctness of the money being handed to you,